Hey, I was going to Ch.4 live with Higurashi When They Cry, but more specifically Chapter 4, Himatsubushi. So, yeah, we took a nap. Took a little nap. We're fine. Totally okay. But, we're awake now. So, that's all that matters. Anyways, I realized we didn't read the scary truth for today, so let's get to that. In 1962, a poltergeist harassed an Indianapolis grandmother, mother, and daughter by making noises, hurling objects, and biting them. The initial string of incidents stopped after 2 weeks, but the poltergeist would return several times over the following months. Poltergeists are German, so they're very stubborn and not easily deterred. Is that how it works? Poltergeist real? Poltergeist real? I don't know. Never experienced it. I've never experienced anything like supernatural or paranormal or whatnot. So, I don't know. If anything, it's like paranoia or just a feeling, I guess. But nothing crazy. But anyways. I think that's it. I think we're good to go. Not much to say. We're just gonna keep on reading. We're gonna keep going through this. And yeah. So last we left off, Rika finally gave us a scary face. It wasn't too scary, but you know, it was a little weird. And then yeah, I guess we're still investigating the whole Onagafuchi Demon Alliance, Defense Alliance, right? And then trying to find the grandson of the Prime Minister. Or the Minister of Construction, right, not the Prime Minister. I think it'd be more serious. A lot more people would be involved if that was the case, right? But anyways, let's continue the story. So let's do the FFC BTT. And then we're good to go. Mood. Pretty sure, yeah, we're starting with chapter 3. I think, yeah, that was the last one we read. Mion and Oryu were having a weird, creepy moment with Coach. So that's fun. Phone suddenly rang. I woke up in a hurry. The clock read 9 p.m. Damn it. Slept past the time I was supposed to report in. I picked up the receiver. Akasaka-sama, you have a call from an outside line. Shall I connect you? It's from a coworker named Kanao-sama. I knew it. I didn't call in, so they had phoned me. Sorry, please put them through. Understood. I'll connect you, so please hang up the receiver for the time being. After I put down the receiver for a few seconds, the phone began to ring again. Imagine operators in this day and age. Yes, hello. This is Akasaka. I mean, there still exists, but not for like regular things, never regular calls. This is Akasaka. Akasaka-kun. This is Kanao. Good work out there. Do they exist? Well, no, yeah, they do. Good work out there. You didn't call in for your regular reports. We called instead. What's the situation? Leaving the lecture for later, my senior coworker got straight to the point. Today I went to the village proper. Under the guise of a tourist, I managed to establish contact with the mayor and several other core members of the Defense Alliance. I wasn't able to ask them anything, but I left a good impression and was able to make a bridge for my investigation from tomorrow onwards. I see. Looks like things are going smoothly. Akasaka-kun, you seem rather naive sometimes, but that might have worked in your favor. Guess you made some good progress for now. I don't have the experience to make a comparison, so I don't know if that's good or not. I think things went well for today, though. Did you find out anything from the prefectural or local offices? Does it look as though the Onagafuchi Defense Alliance is unrelated to this incident? Well, yeah, that's still true. The sniffles after waking up. Is what was it, like 30 minutes ago? Yeah, whoops. Still didn't know. Should have been able to say that immediately. I only had to say that, but for some reason, I hesitated. Which is why, I guess, on a regular schedule, or usual schedule, it's like, what, 2.5 hours? Before I start streaming? Yeah, it's about 2.5. So by then I'd be fine. But since I'm a stubborn little boy, I'm rushing this. It's fine. I'm still investigating, so I don't know what to say yet. Not stubborn, I guess I'm just curious. I want to play more. I want to read more. I see. Could you let us know as soon as possible? I think you understand, but after tonight, it will have been a full 4 days since the kidnapping happened. They didn't set a time limit, but it's obvious that time is not on our side. I think you know that. Yeah, I know. I'll investigate a little quicker, while still being careful about it. Okay, be sure to look after yourself. You're dealing with a violent organization here. It might be dangerous to let your guard down. If you feel that you're in any danger, contact me immediately. In that case, I can get the local public safety office prepared to help you. Thank you. I'll do my best. Anything else to report? I reported several bits of supplementary information. At the very end, I decided to ask, how's the investigation going on your end? Everybody's doing their best here, but we're not making much progress. After all, the number of organizations we're investigating is vast. So if you find out the one you're investigating is in the clear, we'll have you return to Tokyo to assist some of the other officers. The chief is saying to dig up what you can on Onagafuchi, but I don't think a residential anti-dam protest group has any relation to the incident at hand. Sending somebody out just to investigate a single group makes me cringe, really. Cringe. At this point, he was just complaining. He was telling me to stop taking time enjoying my trip, to finish up and get back quick. I'll try and resolve this as soon as I can. Thanks, I'm counting on you. Well then, if there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Okay, that's all I have. As we were ending our call, he scolded me thoroughly for being late with my regular report. After that, I hung up the phone and sprawled out on the bed. Come to think of it, I hadn't heard anything from Oishi. He was supposed to contact me about a time and place to meet with the informant tonight. I thought about getting angry with Oishi in retaliation for being scolded for forgetting my daily report. Come to think of it, though, Oishi didn't really say anything other than that he was going to call tonight. Waiting for a phone call when you didn't know what time it was going to come was in itself rather difficult. Just when I thought that, the phone rang. I picked up the receiver in a hurry. Hello? Mush mush. Well, this is a surprise. Akasaka-san, you're pretty quick to answer the phone. Are you a regular user of dating chat lines or something? I would never even try something seedy like that. The way you overreact is rather interesting. Want to go to a place where you can have a little bit of lewd fun? Foo. I'll pass, so could you please get to the point, Oishi-san? Really? Too bad. We'll leave that for next time then. Well, I'll get to the point. Many of the executives in the Onagafuchi defense alliance had a lot of sway in the neighboring regions. Even in Okonomiya, there were a lot of people with relations in the village. That's why meeting in the Shishiban market district far from Okonomiya was a matter of course. Akasaka-san, over here. Did you get a little lost? Coming from the north entrance might have been a bit of a detour, but it was easier to give directions from there. No, I'm sorry for being late. Did you eat dinner already? Yeah, I already did. Well then, shall we go to a place where you can get a drink? Do you prefer Western alcohol? Maybe sake. Would you prefer a place with or without women? Foo. Don't worry about it. I don't drink while I'm on the job. Hearing that, the man that Oishi had brought along bent backwards as a guffaw, clapping Oishi on the shoulder. See? Isn't he just adorable? In exchange, can you give him a bit extra? That money all came from this guy's wallet, you know? The man that Oishi had brought seemed almost like a ticket scalper or bookie. Even his appearance was dubious. The informant grinned deviously. Hey boy, how much did you give this guy? Looks like their quite was a bit skimmed off the top, you know? Oishi's handling fee was included, as I took that into account. It seemed that the informant had expected a more extravagant reaction on my part. When I responded matter-of-factly, he realized that I was an entirely different type of person than he was. Rather than putting a distance between us, it seemed that I had piqued his interest. I said it, didn't I? He's a serious type. But do you see, Akasaka-san? People in a line of work like ours can really use their wealth of experience to their advantage. I'm wondering exactly how the experience of drinking in a bar with women would work to my advantage. Wahahahaha. The informant, unable to contain himself, clutched at his stomach as he guffawed, heedless of the people watching. Oh lordy, Akasaka-san, you really can judge people. That's what an education does for you. Oishi-san, you've been drinking somewhere, haven't you? Are you drunk? What's wrong with drinking when I'm off duty? Even if you're working, I'm not. Hehehehe. Oishi, who was the sort that'd fool around to begin with, was in such a good mood that I couldn't figure out a way to deal with him. Completely different than me, who had come worried about getting every bit of information I could. Oishi-san, after taking so much money, you were supposed to get me information worth at least as much. I thought this, but then realized that I was getting my information from the informant, so it didn't matter how drunk Oishi was. It was nothing I could complain about, but I still felt slightly riled up. Oishi and the informant, it was no doubt a fake name, but he introduced himself as Sato, led the way deeper and deeper into the back streets of the market district. Even though the market was bustling, a couple of turns off the main street and you were in a desolate alleyway, Oishi started climbing a set of stairs on the side of a seedy building. There wasn't any sorts of signage, so I couldn't tell if the place was open, or if it was even a store at all. Don't worry, this isn't a dubious place. Oof. Those words, coming from Oishi's mouth, had absolutely no credibility. Beyond the door was, thankfully, a typical mahjong parlor. I was relieved that it wasn't the sort of suspicious place I had to be on my guard about. Welcome. Oh, Oishi-san, it's been a while. Want to join in? There'll be a free spot soon. No, I'm here with a group today, so it's fine. Oh, sorry to keep you waiting. Mahjong is a game played with 4 people. It seems that a middle-aged man who was going to be our 4th had already arrived and was waiting for us. You're late, Kurado. I was just thinking of going home. Oishi made an excuse for why we had taken so long. Eventually realizing that I was a new face, the other man grew interested. That's Akasaka-san. He's a rookie who came all the way from Tokyo on assignment. I have high hopes for him. Boy, can you play mahjong? Well, I played a bit when I was still a student. Sato and the old man cackled in unison. Their plot to sucker me out of my money was painfully obvious. I thought you'd be a bit tired from your assignment, leaving you on edge all the time. So I thought I'd give you a night to cleanse your spirit. Hoo-hoo. No, asking us now might be stupid, but we're betting money on this, aren't we? Well, you see, just a little. It's just a little for funsies. But it doesn't matter who loses, because after this, we're using that money to go play at a very nice place. Foo. Go and play? Now what kind of place would you be doing that? Without reservation, the 3 of them started suggesting places like cabarets, high-class clubs, and even brothels. At the very least, they were the type of places that you couldn't go with money that was just for funsies. Oishi-san took all my money the other day, and I also have work to do, so I can't stay for long. And all you have to do is win. If you win, then you can use that money to pay for this table. You can talk to Kurado about work or whatever. No matter what happened, it seemed like they were intent on playing mahjong for free. I would have to fasten my resolve a bit. If I was going to be underestimated like this forever, it's going to get in the way of my work. I understand. And I'll play with you guys for just a bit. If I win, you guys don't get any of the money or get to go to any of those dirty places, and we talk about work right away. Yeah, bring it on. Foo. If I win, we're headed straight to the Blue Mermaid on Flower Road. Oh, that place where the girls dress up in gym clothes and maid uniforms? This old lech here likes that place too. Of course, we're gonna hop between all the places where they keep the girls coming. Slurp. What about you, Sato-san? I prefer a place where we can drink quietly. Like a nice quiet place where you can play footsies with a bunny girl. The last time we went drinking, you pulled the tail right off that bunny girl, didn't you? Didn't you end up having to pay for that? The owner ended up charging what he called a tailoring fee. What a lively table this was. I could tell the other customers were glaring at us while we loudly continued our crude conversation. Speaking of which, the fact that they assumed that was the same was a bit disheartening. Oishi had taken all the money I'd brought, so everything I had left was out of my own pocket. In addition, there wasn't that much left of that either. If I kept on hanging out random like this, through his goading, my wallet would disappear into the night. I had to somehow win and return the conversation to my job. But these people, no matter how you looked at it, were pretty good. Sorry. Yuki. Well, I'll just call Richie here. Well, the old man in Sato probably won't fall for this silly Richie. I wonder if Akasaka will spit out what I need. Foo. At any rate, Kurato's head is probably holding something like that, huh? In that case, this one ought to go through. There. Oh, the old man's pretty good. He's quietly trying to use one of my safe tiles to complete his hand, isn't he? Seems that Akasaka-kun has at least learned the ropes when it comes to guarding against someone's Richie. But that will be his downfall. What's wrong, boy? Would you hurry up and discard? If you're not sure, anything that Kurato's already thrown away should be safe, no? Ooh, Akasaka-kun's really fighting over this one. It is glaringly obvious that he has safe tile to discard, but he didn't want to throw it away because it would move him farther from completing his hand. They're so nice when they're young and innocent. Come on, hurry up and throw out the kicker. If he gave me the winning tile, we'd be headed to an establishment where I could do with all sorts of clicking and sucking. If he gives the old man his winning tile, we'd be headed straight to the place with maids and bloomers. This will go through, right? He looked up as he hesitantly threw out a tile that was... oh, too bad. Hey now, that's a dangerous tile, you know. Kurato, does that go through? Yeah, it will. Foo. Seems this time you were lucky. But as long as the round kept going, I could still win off the draw. Foo. But after that, Akasaka-kun managed to luckily avoid throwing any bad tiles, and somehow the round managed to end without anybody completing a hand. Tenpai! Note. Sato-san had keenly anticipated that two players were in Richie and had decided to play it safe. What a cool-headed way of playing. Now let's see, what kind of hand did Akasaka-kun have? When the round ends with nobody winning in Mahjong, anybody in Tenpai has to show their hand. But if you're not in Tenpai, you have no obligation to reveal it. Your average beginner would normally show their hand even if they weren't in Tenpai, and start a commotion about how if this tile or that tile that came, they would be in Tenpai. But he didn't. Being stingy? How'd you do, boy? Come on, show me. Sato-san reached over to flip the hand that Akasaka-kun had casually placed face down. What the hell is this? He was nowhere near Tenpai. Was Akasaka-kun totally bad at this after all? Foo. Right then, as the old man compared the tiles from Akasaka-kun's hand to the discard pool, a puzzled expression crossed his face. Boy, you're in Tenpai right around here, weren't you? Why'd you break your hand? The higher Mansu tiles suddenly got more valuable, so he suppressed them. Even though with Oishi-san's Richie, the chance they were safe tiles had increased. It would have been in no trouble if he read the discards, but he went out of his way to keep them out of play. Oh? So Kurato's Tenpai was no good from the start, in other words. If it wasn't such a high-level trap, I thought that you were waiting for me to throw out the winning tile. But the more concerning thing is that you were in Tenpai and didn't say anything. When did you realize I was in Tenpai? Around here? You throw out 4 tiles in a row immediately. Words. At first I thought you were just discarding redundant tiles, but I noticed you glancing over at me and realized you were waiting for something. Akasaka-kun, Akasaka-san, when did you first start playing Mahjong? I never did, except in high school and university. Now let's continue. Since Sato-san wasn't in Tenpai and the round ended without a winner, then I'm next, right? The next dealer? It seems like Akasaka-kun is really aware of how the game flows. We thought we were just gonna eat him alive, but it looks like that isn't gonna be so easy. Is that from the perspective of Uishi? Uishi-san, looks like you're going for the bamboo tiles. Should I put some in play? Shh. This boy. Kurato, don't back down. As long as I had 3 more good tiles. Sato-san, think you can do it? Damn it. I'll just force you to go for a cheap Tanyo. Tanyo? Chi? Ki? Straight? Well, sorry, I'm gonna pawn that tile. Whoa now, gonna call 3 of a kind after he declared a straight? Trying to override and interfere? Boy, you're getting pretty used to this. Oh no. I couldn't even compare it to you guys who have been playing since before I was even born. That's game. Ron. Triplets. 2 red Dora. 3 more Dora. I'm the dealer, so this will cost you quite a bit. Gah! Akasaka-san, nice job. I will have to get serious. Won't be. Well, can you get serious about handing over your points? I'm tired, so let's end this quickly. Akasaka-kun? This is somehow unreal. Before I could realize it, there was an ominous cold air emitting from beneath Akasaka-kun's feet. How blasé. The 2, 5, and 8 Manzus are laughing at you. Damn it. Boy, you... Grotto, finish it. You have to end the boy's turn as dealer. Hate to admit it, but that seems like the best option. There it is. Ron. Simple straights. 1 door. Sorry, head bump. Ron. Straight. A head bump? You damn brat. Brat? So you play that sloppily against the brat? Guess that means you're worse than a brat yourself. It's so interesting, the way you guys call people things like brat and boy. Akasaka-kun? That is you, isn't it? Feels like you're a totally different person. Thought that I, being a sucker, would let you drink some good booze tonight? Seems that you were a little off the mark. Ron. Triple straight. Red door. And another door. Whoa! He actually did it. That's why I'm saying you guys are slacking. No matter how you look at it, you have to be able to read such an obvious 3-way weight. Akasaka-kun chuckled as he rested his chin in his hands. That pose was so fitting, it was almost scary. Hey, Grotto. This isn't what we discussed. Who the hell said he was a naive sucker up right for the picking? Nah. Who could it be? Uishi-san, this is bad. If he keeps going like this, we're seriously gonna lose. Akasaka-kun, for you to make me get serious. Looks like you really want to be milked dry. Pawn. 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 Sounds nice. One more time. Pawn. Akasaka-kun was almost singing at this point. Tiles he had open were all pin tiles. You can't be serious. Are you really going for the flush? Pawn. Boy, are you right in the head? You've opened 4 sets. You only have 1 tile left, you know. That's right. Did you know? Waiting on a single tile is the hardest thing to read. Are you an idiot? With that much of your hand revealed, you don't think we'd give you a tile you need, do you? Foo. I know what you're doing, Akasaka-san. That's not a flush or a half flush, is it? The fact that you called pawn 4 times means you're already in a position for an all-triplet hand. Right now, you're far and away in the lead. You're trying to show a flush and going to give you triplets, aren't you? If that's what you think. Want to try throwing out some pins? You left 5 tiles in your hand, Uishi-san. They're pin tiles you're reluctant to throw away, aren't they? Now just try discarding them in order from the left. You must be joking. Is he a Mahjong god? If not, he had to be the main character of a manga or something. At that moment, the old man sent me a sign under the table. The message was simple and clear. Grotto. Do it. Crush him. I don't like to cheat against kids like this. Idiot. After being disrespectful like this, we can't go back now. Well, I'm not responsible for what happens, you know. Go ahead. Here we go, boy. Richie. We'll go open. I'm waiting for a 1, 4, or 7 of pins. Most likely, the tile that Akasaka-kun was waiting for was one of those tiles. With this, Akasaka-kun was no longer capable of winning the hand. When I drew from the wall, I switched out the tile that Akasaka-kun would draw. The tile that I put in was the 1 pin. One of the tiles that the old man was waiting on. Akasaka-kun discarded it a little while ago, so there was no threat of it being the one he needed. Come on, it's your turn, boy. Do-wo-do-hui? Do-wo-do-hui? Hey guys, what's going on? What is that? What is that phrase? What is that word? What are you trying to say? I knew he was trouble. Oh, so that wasn't a fart. That was me, my chair, my foot rubbing against the chair. It's totally fine. No dance game required. I knew he was troubled that the tile he drew was 1 pin. Of course, he couldn't discard it. Boy, you must be aware, but if you discard it to an open Richi. It's worth the limit, you know? Just wanted to hear you say that. Gotcha. You don't have to tell me that. The tile that came from Akasaka-kun's hand was an honor tile. Phew, ain't that something. There's only one north wind tile left, isn't there? You were counting on a really rough wait, weren't you? But with this, Akasaka-kun's fate was decided. Brat, you're lucky you're safe. But your hand only has a single tile. Think you'll be able to run away the rest of this round? So, it's gonna be like that. Akasaka-kun glared at the old man with a discerning eye. This guy had pretty good instincts. Did they figure out we were cheating? Let's stop this. Akasaka-kun is a step or two ahead of us. Fool! Think we can stop after we come this far? Next, make him draw it. The next tile Akasaka-kun would draw was the 7th pin. With that, it would be settled. No matter which one he discarded, he'd play right into the old man's hand. An unavoidable full payout. When I drew my tile, I sneakily swapped Akasaka-san's. Oh. Achoo! Crash. What? Akasaka-kun suddenly sneezed, collapsing the wall of tiles in front of him. Hey, wait, what are you doing? Sorry, I accidentally knocked over the wall when I sneezed. There's a penalty for that, right? I'm the dealer, so 4,000 to everybody? Or is the penalty my point sticks? Wahahaha. Unable to hold back, I guffawed. Akasaka-kun, knowing he was going to be cornered a second time and unable to escape, took the drastic measure of knocking over his own wall. You're a good boy, to get away from a full payout like that. Hahaha. Boichi-san, could you not bother putting me in such an obvious trap? If we were at Baba, this would have been the point where I flipped the table. Oh, no. Sorry. I underestimated you. For some reason, you're really good, aren't you? Answer me honestly. You got a lot of experience when you were younger, didn't you? Played quite a bit around Waseda and Takadan no Baba. The place I was accustomed to going to had pretty high rates, and they chewed me out. Made the woman who'd become my wife pretty angry, so I washed my hands of it all. Raised the stakes too high? How much were you playing for that? How much were you playing for at the time? Depends on who I was playing with, but it was more expensive when I played in Kabukicho. The largest stakes I played with were about 20 times the standard rate. 20 times? What kind of stakes were those? Did you have Yakuza at your table? Or pro baseball players? What's this? Kurado, you buffoon! Where did you pull this professional from? I give up. Jeez. Boy, it's your win. I surrender. Thank you very much. It was an honor. Oh my. Akasaka-san, your personality really changes when you play. Why do you even have a day job? You'd have no problem living as a freelancer. To be a pro mahjong player, you need both talent and luck. Didn't have anything like that supporting me. Luck is luck. With somebody of your skill, I think you'd be able to make it pretty far. Normal luck doesn't cut it. Calling a con in 1 time out of 3, you can aim to win on the extra draw with 4 Doro. That kind of luck. Akasaka-kun, if you can judge something like that, you're already bordering on the supernatural. No, there's plenty of people who can do that without cheating our superpowers. There was a person I met in Shinjuku who would get Doras every time he blinked. He was as strong as a demon. There was a pro I played with in Yokohama who would draw the tile he needed immediately after calling Richi like it was an everyday thing. I don't have that kind of luck. What type of folks were those? They weren't named Ryu or Satoshi by any chance. Satoshi? Well then, is it alright if I'm declared the overall winner then? Yeah, we totally lost. Poo. I lost. It's been a while since I lost this big. Still, when you're a playing boy, you're pretty into it. It's kind of scary. Yeah, I hear that a lot. I don't mean to change gears like that though. Did I really look that scary? Yep. The 3 of us nodded emphatically in agreement. So that was Akasaka-kun, the mahjong prodigy. Before he goes home from his assignment, maybe I could have him go play at a high-stakes table in my place. But it's not good to get greedy. Poo. Well then, nothing for it. It was a promise. We'll break up our little late-night study group right now. Sorry about this, old man. That's it for tonight. Nothing you could do. I'm going home to sleep. My body won't last like this. Problems at work? Oh. Oh, he's the foreman of the Whoa, dude. Oh, he's the foreman of the primary construction site at the Hinamazawa Dam. He's butting heads with the residents every day. It's a rough business. Around next year, I might be in charge of the second site as well. I heard that Kuruto-san is pissing blood. Won't hold out much longer. You'll be alright, old man. Your skull's thicker than it looks. Foo. Not exactly a saint, you know. There's times that just make my blood boil. Especially can't stand dealing with that bratty daughter of Sonozaki's. I think one of these days I'm gonna rearrange her face. Now. At least the pay is good, right? Heard the wages were pretty exorbitant. Of course they are. If the pay was cheap, nobody would hang around that god-awful job. Hey, Corrado, exactly when are the police gonna tell all the villagers to shove off? There'll be a notice of eviction from the government, right? Maybe. I wonder what will happen. The old man, who identified himself as the foreman of the Hinamazawa Dam, spewed a few complaints until he felt better about it, then left quietly. Well then, let's go. I'll leave the rest to Sato-san. Oishi-san, are you going home? If I'm here, I'll just be in the way, won't I? Besides, the one who bought Sato-san's services was you. I didn't pay for my share. Oishi-san was kind of sketchy, but he was strangely conscientious about some things. I felt quite a bit of a gap between myself and Oishi's generation from that part of him I didn't comprehend. But boomer. Then, boy. No, I can't call Mr. Mahjong your boy anymore. No more. Is Akasaka-kun alright with you? Yes. Then, Akasaka-kun, shall we go? Well then, Akasaka-san. Later. If you're having any troubles, you can count on me anytime. I don't have any more money to pay you, you know that. You can just give back a little of what I lost tonight. Nah. Oishi, seemingly still not having had his fill playing around, but without overstaying his welcome, disappeared into the night. Yeah. Do wo do hui. Is that how it goes? The informant, named Sato-san, had me get into his car before he set off. He favored narrow roads and made numerous short left turns. Cactuffy. Checking if we're being followed. Yeah, you know a lot about this. Checking to see if you were being tailed by making left turns was a rather classic technique. If it was a single pursuer, you could confirm it that way. But if you were being tailed as a team, this archaic method wouldn't let you shake them. Of course, doing it anyway was better than not. I didn't hear anything from the boss as to who you are, Akasaka-kun. Related to the police? If you're familiar with checking for being tailed, the only other possibility I can think of is something like a private detective. If it's not something I have to say, I'd like to refuse to answer that question. My. Ever since we played Mahjong, you seem a lot more mature. I wonder where that hesitant person went from when we first met. I smiled wryly. Looking back now, I had to be a little grateful for being made to play Mahjong. Thanks to that, I was able to relieve some tension. Eventually, Sato-san, confirming that there were no cars following us, slipped outside the city. We were on a pitch-black country road, unable to see anything besides the lights outside. The only things I was able to hear were the hum of the car's air conditioning and the chirping of insects and frogs. My, Miss American Pie, he's like slicker than the guy with the thing on his eye. In his eye? Hugh? Is that how the lurks go? And the chirping of insects and frogs. I heard from the boss that you want to hear a bit about Yamazawa Village, yeah? Like about the old houses known as the three families who control the place? Or that right now it's pretty much the Sonozaki family running things. If you know that much already, I'll cut out the introductions. Then if you would, can you confirm or deny if the Onegafuchi Defense Alliance is involved with the kidnapping of Mr. Inugai's grandson? Sato-san checked the rearview mirror one more time to confirm there wasn't anybody behind us before speaking. Last night, the Sonozaki main house held a family council. Did you hear about it from the boss? No. That was actually Nicki Minaj's Super Bass, but also some of the lyrics are shared with Miss American Pie too. Okay. He's like slicker than the guy with the thing on his eye. I don't know about that. Put my mind, Miss American Pie. Super Bass? Dum 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 dum. Super Bass. That's how it goes. I remember when Nicki Minaj was something fun to listen to. Anaconda. If it was a normal meeting, then it would just be all the relatives coming together over a nice cup of tea or something. But a family council held by the main house isn't quite so relaxed. No one said she was necessarily a lyrical genius, right? Oh man. I heard the new remix is not that good. It's like something with Doja Cat or something. A family council held by the Sonozaki main house. That would be a meeting between those who truly controlled Hinamizawa village. They wouldn't be talking about private family matters, it would be about the village as a whole. About organizing activities against the dam project. Among other things, everything would be decided there. In reality, they were deciding the fate of the village. I don't know, I just know Super Bass. Gotcha. Did she do Bubble Butt? Or is it someone else? Can't remember. At the head of the meeting was Oryo Sonozaki, more or less called Empress Sonozaki. As the ultimate decision maker of the clan, she was to be feared and respected. Concern. I remember there was a song called Bubble Butt, and there was like a music video, and it was just ridiculous. It's too much. It's too much, man. And there goes the phone. Okay, hold on. Let me reread something, because I want to make sure. Did you hear about it from the boss? But family council held by the main house isn't quite so relaxed. Okay. At the head of the meeting was Oryo Sonozaki, more or less called Empress Sonozaki. As the ultimate decision maker of the clan, she was to be feared and respected. Infirm with old age, she was often unable to stand on her own, but her words carried enough weight to sway the fate of the village. It seemed that lately she had grown weak, and on days where she wasn't feeling well, remained bedridden. Family councils that occurred while she wasn't feeling well took place with her on the floor. In the middle of a dignified Japanese-style room, still in a futon, only the upper half of her body sitting upright, a stern look on her face. That was Oryo Sonozaki. Sitting next to her was her heir, Mion Sonozaki. She was still young. No, young wasn't quite the right word. She was a girl who remained childish. Her role was to merely sit beside Oryo Sonozaki, sometimes responding to requests, however. She was the only one deemed worthy to succeed Oryo. She had the same hawkish eyes, enough to give pause to anybody who so much had looked at them. Much was expected of her in the future, this granddaughter of the Sonozaki's leader. And also on either side of her sat several other important members of the remaining three families, the Kimiyoshi family and the Furude family. First on the list for the Kimiyoshi family was of course the mayor of Hinamizawa village, Kichiro Kimiyoshi. Imagine if each state was ruled by a feudal Japan-style clan system. There'd be so many wars. So many hidden wars. And lined up beside him were several more of his direct relatives. Opposite them sat the other of the three families, the Furude family. The Furude family was only comprised of the family of a Shinto priest, so the only ones sitting there were said priests, his wife, and their daughter, Rika. Rika was doted on by many of the older folks in the village, and it seemed that Oryo was no exception. While the stress from just attending a family council was said to be enough to shorten your lifespan by 3 days, it seemed like Rika was the only one exempt from that. Because surely someone would want to be emperor or something. I don't know how Japan politics work. old class systems. No matter how charged the atmosphere was around her, she paid it no mind, instead humming along as she doodled in a sketchbook. In fact, the night before, lying on her stomach while humming and doodling, Japan does in fact still have an emperor. Oh, that's right, that's true. I forgot about that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm completely ignorant on that. Oldest monarch in the world? Is he? What? Well, right. King. Or emperor. Right. Because I was thinking of Queen Elizabeth, but right. She's I guess that counts as a monarch, right? Or no? Lying on her stomach, while humming and doodling, she nonchalantly tucked her legs into Oryu's futon like it was a kotatsu. All this was the three families. And all around the room, lying row upon row, were relatives of the Sonozaki family. Well, I mean, it's the longest monarchy in the world that is still going. Oh, gotcha. Okay. In that way, gotcha. Not by age of the person, the individual. The only ones who were afforded cushions to sit on were direct relatives. The others are left to sit on the seiza position directly on the tatami mats. With Empress Sonozaki enshrined at their center, they were almost like a giant snake coiled around the room. It was decided that everybody would sit in order of their rank. The number of people from the Sonozaki family was overwhelming. The fact that the Sonozaki family held so many seats at a meeting where everything pertaining to the village was decided made determining where the balance of power was held in the three families as clear as day. The number of members in attendance from each of the families directly reflected how much influence they had in ruling Hinamizawa. What was talked about at that meeting? Sato-san, after remaining silent for a while, quietly began to speak. Well, wasn't our monetary gift of appreciation to the media a little large? Nah, Japan Emperor just changed hands in 2019 as a former emperor abdicated due to aging health. So his son is now emperor. Okay, gotcha. I didn't realize that was some recent change. There's just a ceremonial role at this point, similar to the British monarchy. Okay, gotcha. Just a title. That's pretty neat. I do want to learn more about it. I think all I know of Japan is through Samurai Warriors, Inuyasha, some anime, other anime, and oh, this one that we're playing. That's fascinating. Breaking the long moment of silence was the head of the Kimiyoshi family, Kichiro Kimiyoshi. The Onigafuchi Defense Alliance wasn't a business. They were nothing more than a private organization pushing for the cancellation of the Hinamizawa Dam project, with no reliable source of income. Fundraising had always been a problem. When they first started operating, they had managed to collect a sizable amount of funds through donations, but as the conflict dragged on, that amount was steadily declining. I was a poli-sci major in college, so I'm super government history and politics nerd. Gotcha. It's the only reason I bother keeping up on this stuff. Oh, that's fair. It's your interest, right? I know my one of my siblings is super into history, which you know, it's cool. It's cool. A lot of podcasts, a lot of documentaries, a lot of but it's mostly U.S. history, I think. That's what they're into. When they first started operating, they had managed to collect a sizable amount of funds through donations, but as the conflict dragged on, the amount was steadily declining. This isn't an era where you can get what you want just by throwing rocks. It's very important you don't underestimate the power of the media, and we want to borrow some of that down the road. Love learning and watching stuff about government and political systems. Nice. My brain can't handle it. I mean, it can, it's just something that doesn't... I'm fascinated, but it's not something I'd pursue. I'm going to borrow some of that down the road. The expressions of the people related to the Sonozaki family were sullen. As the one who suggested that they should borrow that power was the family head, Oryu Sonozaki. The battle wasn't just about force of arms. In this civilized age, there are civilized methods of fighting. Oryu's suggested that creating a strategy incorporating the mass media. Oryu's foresight was spot on. The effects of that plan, while at first unclear, slowly began to manifest. Well, I mean, honestly, the civics part of it, the political argumentation you see in, like, comment sections are Dan's game, and because they're because they don't know. Armchair historians? I don't know. I could see how that could be frustrating. If a physical confrontation at the construction site was meant to delay progress on the dam by even one day, then the propaganda war used in the media was aimed at attacking the dam project itself. At first, there were those who had doubts about that strategy, but there is nobody now who called those results into question. But in order to maintain those media ties, a colossal amount of money was required. As long as the amount of funds they have was abundant, things would turn out fine. It couldn't be argued that it was a massive expense, but the results spoke for themselves. But with the conflict continuing to drag on, the circumstances had changed. The head of the Sonozaki family, no, the one who sat at the pinnacle of the Hinamazawa's three families, Oryu, had suggested the idea herself, so it was already untouchable and continued to be allowed to drain from the budget. Part of my job is having to sift through that as an editor and web management for some of the company's news sites. So I have to monitor those comment sections for TOS violations and other stupid stuff. So I have to read it every day. Damn. Well, that's unfortunate. But I mean, it's your job, so that's at least something that interests you, right? So that works out. It's just the comments. Nobody acknowledged that it should be so loud that nobody could say anything. That was the price of dealing with the mass media. What do you think, Ori-san? The only person who could object to a plan proposed by the head of the Sonozaki household herself was probably Mayor Miyoshi. Oryu, with a hard-to-define expression on her face, as if she had severed herself from the fetters of mortal emotion, simply listened quietly to Kimiyoshi's words. But really, it was hard to tell if she was quietly listening or didn't even have the intention of listening at all. Pays the bills, right? Oh man. Editor's cool. Another line of work. I'm mostly data entry. So that's pretty much it. A little bit customer service. Customer service data entry. Basic. Last year, went through a lot of trouble getting people to wrap their heads. Some management. I did do some management. Last year, went through a lot of trouble getting people to wrap their heads around the price hike on the bulletins we were putting out. We convinced them it was just the one time. It just wouldn't do if we had another one this year. Right, Furude-san? The mayor looked to the priest and his wife from the Furude family for affirmation. The priest gave a vague expression of wanting a prompt response, but his wife gave her answer without a second thought. Yeah, that's right. The cost of the bulletins are a particularly harsh burden for the poorer families. Everybody's dealing with it for the sake of the village, but it's best we don't ever increase the price. We don't increase the prices anymore. Yeah, that job is long-term, renewable contract job. They also do freelance editing, proofreading, and technical writing on the side. Nice. So that's the long-term one. Okay. I liked managing, but also no, because it feels bad sometimes dealing with people. But and then if it wasn't Rona time, I'm part-time school bus driver too. So it's a smorgasbord of jobs. Nice. Bus driver? That's cool. Never drove a bus before, but I was in buses at one point. I mean, besides school, I mean like for a job, had to be in a bus. I helped put together routes for the bus company. Ah, okay. Cool, cool. Making routes for schools. Try to be vague. The bulletin was, as its name implied, a bulletin published by the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance. It outlined the Alliance's activities, ideals. I'm trying to be vague. I do things. You do things. We all do things. I don't know what my job description is. You do things. We all do things. No, but when I said vague, I meant me. But, no, that's cool. Outlined the Alliance's activities, ideals, and resolve, but you couldn't deny the contents were rather piecemeal. that bulletin's main goal wasn't to inform people, but rather was something to sell to businesses and people living in the village or connected to it, using those sales to collect funds. In other words, it had become something of a tax. Of course, it didn't have to be said that this was one of the main sources of income to the Onigafushi Defense Alliance. Originally, purchase was supposed to be voluntary, but it in Hinamizawa, it had silently become the opposite. I'm seeing more typos. Puts thing doer on my LinkedIn and resume. That's all you gotta do, right? People like that shit. The neighboring towns as well. It seemed that many businesses were buying copies just to avoid butting heads with the Alliance. I wonder about my LinkedIn. Do I have to update it? I don't know. I haven't really used it in a while. The priest whispered to his wife to not say anything unnecessary, but was struck down decidedly with the cold glare. Cowering from that glare, the priest shut his mouth. Or did I delete it? I'll have to check. The priest's wife always held the power in their relationship. That's because she was the one who carried the Furude bloodline. The priest merely married into the family. He was nothing more than somebody who adopted the name just to join the three families. Also, I prepared my garden stuff today. Nice. You said it was an indoor garden, right? Or... I think? The priest merely married into the family. He was nothing more than somebody who adopted the name just to join the three families. He should have been able to find a spot fairly high up in the hierarchy of things, but the lack of authority in his voice meant that he had still not gained any favor. Casting a backwards glance at her rather disparate parents, Rika continued to doodle whimsically without paying them any mind. Signaled by a look from Oryu, Mion brought her ear closer to her grandmother. There, something was said to her in a quiet voice. After responding with a couple questions, with a nod from Oryu, Mion looked around the room and conveyed her grandmother's words. I'm having an outdoor shrub garden, some indoor plants to add, and then my bus boss has a plot in his land outside of town that he said I could use to plant some veggies. Ah, nice. Well, have fun. What kind of veggies are you planting? Outdoor shrubs. I know my parents have some plants outside the door that they take care of, but I'm not sure what they have. And at this point, I'm too afraid to ask. Green peppers, zucchinis, and a tomato plant. Nice. I think some friends are making carrots? Or maybe it was potatoes. I might be wrong. It might be incorrect. It's been a while since I've been to their house. And the manure is ready, sitting in my truck bed. Oh, the manure. Gotta use it, right? I know nothing about farming, except from Stardew Valley. Well, and then grape farms, right. There will no freeze when the price increase for the bulletin. Kimiyoshi made a face like he had just been into something unpleasant, but that expression quickly disappeared like it had never happened at all. But Mion-chan, I think you already noticed, but the cost of the bulletin is by no means easily affordable. It's a burden carried by everyone in Hinamizawa. If we make people carry too much of the burden, it's possible we'll collapse from the inside. And who on the inside would start that collapse? You can use that sprinkly fertilizer stuff, but I personally found that manure works better, at least in my experience. Ah, okay. So, I mean, that's the OG, right? So that makes sense. What's old is gold. Who? I didn't mean like that. I'm asking who would be the first to buckle. Being cross-examined by a girl who still had fragments of childishness remaining within her. The words stuck in Kimiyoshi's throat as he snuck into silence. Mion repeated her question once more, looking around the crowded room. Everybody refrained from making eye contact to avoid being pierced by her gaze. Not sure call cow shit cold, but it seems to do the job pretty well. No, I gotcha. The words she had spoken were unarguably said in proxy for audio. That's why when Mion spoke them, they carried the same weight. But the look in her eyes was different. Like Orio's, they had a hawkish gaze, strong enough that anybody looking upon them would freeze in their tracks and yield. But that gaze was without a question one that belonged to Mion herself. As Mion would eventually inherit everything from Oryu, the day when she would stand up as a young and capable leader in her own right would come. Nobody wanted to believe otherwise for even a minute. That's why nobody even thought of Mion as just some sort of little kid. Kimiyoshi-san, nobody will lose their resolve or something like a price hike on the bulletin. Kimiyoshi, while grumbling a little bit, made a gesture as if to say he had no objection. The expenses related to the mass media will continue. If those expenses become too much, we'll have no choice but to continue the price hikes. Mion had rendered her judgment. Everybody bowed their heads, silently listening to her words. In the name of Mion Sonozaki, as acting head of the Sonozaki family, I hereby declare that all this shall be effective immediately. There shall be no objections, and any opposition shall be removed by force. The formal decree was read aloud, indicating her judgment. There would be no retrial, but there was a certain authority behind those words that even a courthouse couldn't compare to. If she was the judge, she would have banged her gavel, signaling that that matter was settled. Mion put out a large bell from inside her clothes and rang it. The bell. Everybody present could only prostrate themselves before the harsh sound of the bell. Don't we hear the bell when footsteps are behind us? Now? What's up? Well, that's a rather old-fashioned family council, isn't it? It better not be one of those summers. Oh, this summer? Where it rains a lot? Or too hot? Which it rains too much like last year? Oh, gotcha. Because that'd be too much water. Wouldn't be good for the plants. What is this notification? Stop. I thought I had disabled Facebook notification. A young guy like you would probably find it hard to believe. In an antiquated place like this, these types of things have firm roots. Yep. It was exactly as Uishi had said. Yeah, hopefully. It's not like, I mean... Let it not rain for you, but let it rain for us. Because I would like rain over here. The old system of the three families had vanished, and now the Sonozaki family was running things by themselves. Top of that, their rule was borderline despotic. Despotic? Despotic? Is that the end of the meeting? Lost 2 plants last year because of the just constant downpours? Yeah. Well, hopefully. Hopefully it doesn't happen. But, what is it, like a 1% chance? No, there's more. I'll continue. Never mind, it's 50-50. It either happens or it doesn't happen. Eventually, after the ring of the bell ceased, there was deafening silence. Within all of that, a lone man shuffled closer to Mion and whispered something in her ear. Mion asked several questions quietly in response. This guy has a really good memory. When she was satisfied, she motioned for the man to leave. The man who talked to Mion was a member of a gang that her father was the leader of. That organization had the entire area of Shishibone City under its control, so it was quite well known even here. Also, the gnats will make it miserable. Last year was so bad you couldn't go outside with being eaten alive by clouds of gnats. I would have thought it'd be like a little too cold for that, but I guess it's the summer, so never mind. I definitely don't... I forget where it happened, but I remember walking to a cloud of mosquitoes. Maybe not a cloud, but there was a lot of mosquitoes in this one area, and it was annoying. It got so bad that chicken farmers lost chickens because they were clogging their nostrils that they suffocated. Clogging their nostrils, bro. Damn. Why does that happen? No, there's more. I'll continue. Okay. So it's quite well known, even here. Of course, this was talking about the criminal underworld, so it's not like just anybody would know. But just showing a patch with the gang symbol on it was enough to resolve any disputes in the neighborhood. Mion's biological father, Tooryu, was her daughter's husband. What? Wait, what? Mion's biological father, Tooryu, was her daughter's husband. Oh, okay. I see. It's alright, he's not related to the family by blood. Saw the unending rain and the sitting water turning Minnesota into spawning ground for gnats and mosquitoes last year. And deer and horseflies. It was miserable. Ah, oh, gross. That doesn't sound pleasant. Gnats and mosquitoes. I'm guessing you have that, one of those lanterns that, like, zaps bugs. Because those are fun. Power of that man's gang was the driving force that controlled the dark underbelly of the Onigofuchi Defense Alliance. And so that man, from his position as the next in line to control the three families, continued to course everybody around him with his unconventional presence. Have I seen a horsefly? Maybe? Probably. Mion exchanged a look with her father. Is it okay for her to tell what she just heard directly to Ori? Looked like she was asking him that question. My parents' house up north, they live in the middle of nowhere, so they just spray the whole yard on a regular basis. Damn. So many bugs. Looked like she was asking him that question. Father gently but firmly nodded his response. Mion also nodded, then sidled up to Oryu and informed her of something. Horseflies are those big buggers that literally hum when they fly, and their bite leaves big whelps. Oh, gross. Maybe not? Probably not. I don't think I've ever gotten big whelps. I don't know, there's like one bug that like, it's like, next to your ear. Maybe it's, I don't know. There's a lot of bugs that do that, right? It's annoying. Stop. Eventually, they usually come in a swarm of 5 or 6. Oh. Stop. Eventually, Mion finished conveying her message, separated herself from Oryu, and fixed her posture, waiting for Oryu to signal a response. It wasn't often that Oryu showed any emotion. That's why, when she started to laugh quietly, a vague sense of uneasiness crept over everybody in the room. It's quite the conundrum, isn't it? I think maybe that was at my family's ranch. Maybe. Probably. I remember the smell of horse poop. Said poop. Horses. Good thing we have 8 months of winter. So it's not too bad. It's a great smile. As the name suggests, you can find them near horses and cows. Ah, I see. So probably, maybe they're back at the ranch. To the ranch! Oryu was laughing so happily that Kimiyoshi had to hesitantly ask, "What is it, Oryu-san?" They're also just out in the woods and shaded areas a lot. Haven't really been to forest areas, woods. This land is like a mother to us, and this business with the dam is like somebody threatening our mother's life, isn't it? Kimiyoshi, unable to comprehend the meaning of her words, looked confused. Oryu, with a wide grin on her face, turned towards everybody and addressed them in a clarion voice. The minister behind the dam project is apparently rattled over the kidnapping of his grandson. That makes us even. That's absurd. Information on the kidnapping of Minister Inugai's grandson shouldn't have leaked from anywhere. How did they know? Even we didn't know much about the kidnapping incident. Exactly how did an antiquated household so far away from Tokyo come to know of it? Because they're involved. If you're in the part of Texas that doesn't have a lot of trees and mostly grassland or arid, there probably won't be many of those. Okay. I mean, yeah, because, right. San Antonio, lots of buildings, lots of clear paths. Unless you're on a ranch near cows and horses. Okay. I mean, I guess there's like the river. Some trees there. We're in cities either. Gotcha. Yeah, we're in the city. So, urban environment. Yeah, the river. River was fun. I didn't really experience it when I went hiking one time, but just one time. Just one time hiking, that's all we did. Because, well, cities, right? I've been hiking several times. It's only been like 2 locations though. But it's been a while. It was a tranquil place, but I couldn't help but have an uneasy feeling about Hinamizawa village. Unfortunately, the Twin Cities are so full of greenery that most insects still exist around here. Also, the lakes don't help. Oh, yeah. That would contribute for sure. At some point, I had mentally filed this place away as unrelated to the incident at hand. That mental paperwork had just blown away in the wind. How did the Onigafushi Defense Alliance know about that? Sato-san, unable to come up with an answer, fell into silence. I'm sorry. Please continue. Sure. Drink some more of my drink. The Minister of Construction's grandson was kidnapped? Move that over there. Odio-san, is that true? That major of an incident was nowhere to be seen in the newspapers or on TV. But in Hinamizawa, there is nothing strange about Odio knowing something that the rest of the world didn't. Our pain is the pain of losing a mother. I don't think it completely makes up for it, but the pain of losing a grandchild... He'll have to bear with that for a bit. Don't you think? The last question wasn't addressed to anybody in particular. It was as if she was looking for consensus. Still, land and a human child are different things. I don't mind hiding from him here, but I want no harm to befall him. The child isn't to blame. Make sure to keep that in mind. I'm kind of getting a Genkai type of vibe from her. Old lady. Both old ladies. Stereotypical Jeep. Such... Oh, yeah. That means that the Onigafushi Defense Alliance were involved in the kidnapping. I mean, there's also Baba, right? From Dragon Ball. I can't say for sure. Certain. Wait, did they have the same voice actor? No, right? Because Genkai was Frieza. Right. Never mind. Can't say for certain. Why? Even though their leader, Oryu, is clearly giving orders on the treatment of the kidnapped child. Lad, you see, this is what the Sonozaki family always does. Always does? What do you mean by that? Let's say there was a particular problem. One that wasn't exactly favorable for the Sonozaki family. If Oryu shows concern over that particular problem, hearing that somebody who attended the family council would be helpful. As a result, Oryu's wish would be granted. However, neither Oryu or anybody else would know who actually did it. With this kind of clever little ploy, the Sonozaki family was able to manipulate events even though they had their hands laid out on the table. Then that means that somebody who was at the family council was the culprit. Or there's the possibility that there was never a culprit in the first place. Oryu herself, in that room full of people, didn't explicitly say that somebody pulled off the kidnapping. She was just giving her opinion. It was not an unpleasantly secretive way of doing things. Were they involved or weren't they? I couldn't see beyond the veil. This much, however, I could say with certainty. This kidnapping was an ironclad secret. No matter how high a position somebody was in, even they wouldn't know about it. If there was somebody who would know about it, they would be connected to public safety. In other words, one of us. The only other options were people connected to the case itself. Including the minister, there would be people affected by the incident. Or the people that committed it. In any case, there was no way an old household in a place removed from Tokyo by over 6 hours of highway travel should know about it. Them knowing it all was already strange. 6 hours? That's not too far. My suspicions began to accumulate, like falling snow. As much as Audio said in regards to the kidnapping, hopefully what you wanted to find out was in there. After this, it's up to you. I don't know what kind of work you're doing, but if you're going up against the Sonozaki family, you'd best prepare yourself. Yoichi might be fearless, but even he's been attacked by 2 or 3 times. He hasn't been wearing it lately, but at one point he was wearing a stab-proof vest while off-duty. Oh? Thanks for the warning. I'll be careful. You speak pretty well. Are you from Tokyo by any chance? Huh? What's your point? Investigators are always close to danger. It was best not to divulge any information on myself. Your job. Could you possibly be somebody from the Metropolitan Public Safety Division? I couldn't remain silent here. It would be the same thing as admitting it. Huh? No way. This wasn't accounted for in the money I got from the boss. But as somebody who played at the same table today, I'll give you this one as a freebie. After Audio talked about the kidnapping, there was one other topic that came up. Another topic that Audio brought up? Right before he told me this, Sato-san asked if I was from the Metropolitan Public Safety Division. In other words, what those 2 things meant caused a chill to run up my spine. They know. So you see, that in order to investigate the kidnapping of the minister's grandson, there's word that there will be an investigator from Public Safety dispatched all the way from Tokyo. An investigator from Public Safety? They can't be reckless and make a big deal of the kidnapping. So it seems the Metropolitan Public Safety Division is investigating this on their own. Ain't that grand? What is it? Rika. Rika, who had been drawing the entire time, was completely uninterested in the conversation up until now, looked at Audio with an interested face as soon as the topic of public safety came up. Did the Metropolitan Police come? Oh, so Rika-chan knows about the Metropolitan Police Department? That's very admirable. Who came? Is there anybody that knows what kind of guy from Public Safety came here? Mion's father raised his hand slightly. Hear that it's a nice young piece of fresh meat. Fresh meat? Is it nice and tender? Haha. Yeah, it is. Fresh meat. Mion's father smiled wryly as he answered Rika's question. Tender and tasty? Yeah, tender and tasty. Rika smiled with interest. Why did Rika suddenly act interested only when it came to this topic? That was a question that apparently nobody had the answer to. Does Rika-chan know something about this man? I don't know. After a rather flat reply, Rika buried herself underneath Audio's futon again. But when she buried herself there, Rika no longer started drawing again. Instead, she was making an expression like she was deep in contemplation. What shall we do about him, Mother? Mion's father posed the question. He had the type of uncouth expression on his face indicating that given the order, he could snuff the problem out at any time. He came all the way to Hinamizawa. Let him take it easy for a little while. So you're saying to just let him go around as he pleases? Mion's father asked in response. Audio smiled thinly as she responded. Leave him alone. But if he starts causing too much mischief, when that happens, don't hold back. Don't enjoy being taken lightly. That's what they talked about, apparently. It couldn't be that you're that fresh meat from the Metropolitan Police, are you? Couldn't be. The sensation of cold, bristling fear began to crawl its way up my back. This family council took place last night. In other words, yesterday. Then today, when I was dressed up as a tourist headed towards Hinamizawa, my cover was already blown. When I remembered the first person I met when I got to the bus stop, I couldn't breathe. The person at the family council who expressed interest in the man being dispatched from the Metropolitan Police, Rika Furude. And then, the person who was waiting for me the whole time in the bus shelter, Rika Furude. It was an unthinkable image. No, it was a delusion. When we met at that bus shelter, did Rika-chan already know my true identity? Did she know that I was Akasaka, dispatched from the Metropolitan Police Department, and come to meet me? Then, including Mayor Kimiyoshi, every villager that I met, everybody knew but just pretended not to? Because Audio had given instructions not to interfere? Thinking about it logically, it didn't seem possible. I met quite a number of people. There's people that are good at acting, and there's people who are bad at hiding things. You have no idea how much I want s'mores right now. Be so pleasant. Story time and s'mores. When was the last time I got s'mores? I think it was like before the wedding? Is that right? Or maybe after. Wait, I can check actually. Because I sent a message to someone. Oh, it was in December. Damn. Yeah, it's been a while. Our friend has a bonfire, like this bonfire set up in his backyard. So it's usually where we get this. You've been having s'mores lately. I can camp a fire somewhere in the neighborhood and I want to roast marshmallows. That'd be so good. Chocolate, graham crackers, mellows. There's people that are good at acting, and there's people who are bad at hiding things. If there was that many people, then there should have been somebody among them who knew I was from public safety and couldn't hide their hostility. However, I didn't feel any presence like that. But then, even still, why did Oreo tell them to leave me alone? Imagine me have a fire in December, can't relate. Yeah, it wasn't that cold. I think for us, it doesn't get cold until like January or February. December's like regular. But I think you said back in April you had a snowstorm, right? Or blizzard, maybe? So I was like, that sounds about right. Because of my Chicago trip last year, where it snowed. Why did Oreo tell them to leave me alone? Is it because if they are careless about it, it would only raise more suspicion? Or is it because they believed a rookie like me wouldn't be able to find anything? It is hot right now. Let me see. What's the temperature outside? 81 degrees? That doesn't feel right. Akasaka is a coward. Stuff he knows. Winter starts in October here, and ends unofficially in June. Damn. But we have like 8 seasons here. Oh, yeah. In June? That's next month. I recalled that strange voice, which could only make me believe that Rika-chan had been possessed. That unknown entity, no matter how you looked at it, knew my true identity from the get-go. And then, how did it warn me again? That's right. It warned me to hurry up and go back to Tokyo. Instead of a realistic worry that the Onigo Fuchi Defense Alliance had discovered my identity, the absurd worry brought on by the unknown girl stuck with me more. Wait, I thought hold on. It's 1978. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait. 8, 9, 0, 1, 2. Right, it's the year before. Okay, right. What exactly was that girl? What was the thing I would eventually regret? That mysterious girl. Because it's the death of the foreman that stops the project, right? So, we have a year to go. That mysterious girl, Rika Furude. Let's stop this. Fake fall, actually fall, winter part 1, fall spring 1, winter part 2, fake spring 3, surprise, winter part 3, summer, and then construction season. What is construction season like? All the roads are being construction on. That mysterious girl, Rika Furude. Let's stop this. Everything I was thinking of right now is merely conjecture. Tomorrow, first thing in the morning, I'll report everything I heard right now to HQ and await further order. further orders. There's no mistaking that the possibility that Onagafuchi defense lines were related to this case was there. That the fact that my cover was blown meant I was in a precarious position. But as everybody at HQ was already extremely busy, they might not be able to spare the support. Imagine not being able to get anywhere effectively because all the major roads are being redone all summer long. Damn. And this happens every year. Is that everything? If you want, I can drop you off where you like. Ah, sorry. In that case, the station where we originally met, please. A rural road, where even a streetlight was rare. Couldn't see anything. I wasn't aware of anything but the asphalt that was lit up by the headlights. Outside of that light, was it simply darkness? Or was there something lurking there, waiting to strike? I had to think I drew this short straw here. Want to go back to Tokyo. For some reason, the voice of the girl warning me to go back to Tokyo still lingered in my head. Mahjong Prodigy. Okay. The winter cold that expands the roads because of ice and the cracks ruin the roads every year. So potholes and other stuff need to be fixed yearly. And some roads just need to be updated in general, so there's a big infrastructure push in Minnesota for that. Gotcha. That makes sense. Still though, damn. That must be a hassle. Man. What time is it? 1 hour 23? Okay, we can do another chapter. I mean, we're not ending anytime soon. Well, not yet. It's a never-ending story. Da-da-da-da-da. Never-ending story. Thank you again for that clip, Gus. I think we added it to the quotes, so one of these days it'll pop up. I think that was quote number 6. Just let me latch on his back. Oh yeah, there's that one. Is it quote 6? Can we do quote 6? Or maybe it's just RNG. We have quotes, we got quotes. It's mostly stuff from clips, and then stuff that I generally say. But there's not that much, because I can't think of anything. Quote story. I'd rather live than die. Oh, chatbot quotes though. Yeah. There's like a specific command it can do that like brings it up, but I'm not sure what it was. Quote 6. Oh, there it is. So you just have a space and then the number. There it is. Unless that was RG, and it just happened to be that one. Yee! The investigation runs aground. What are they talking about? Yeah. Yesterday when we met at the restaurant in Giza, that topic popped up. That's overstepping their boundaries, isn't it? Love the midway realization that you're losing your marbles. I think I'm going crazy. They're meddling too much with public safety. If they keep doing that, they're going to set a bad precedent. Preceded by just going full cuckoo. It seems that Minister Enugai is openly uncomfortable about the way public safety is doing things. The Vice Minister is probably going to say something to that effect during Monday's debate session. But what can you do? You can only have the Director address the Vice Minister. That's why we pay him the big bucks. Well, if it's come to that, we're going to ask him for proof that the Minister is being threatened. Sometimes I don't know what side he's on. If he's not on ours, then what? Well, he's probably getting some pressure from the Minister. We'll probably just have to proceed with the investigation while he sweats it out in the Vice Minister's office and buys us some time. Might get so wrung out to dry that all that'll be left are dregs, though. So how's the investigation going? All the juicy leads I was pinning my hopes on turned out to be duds. Honestly, I'm at a loss. There are reports that the Hinamizawa Dam project has been showing up a lot lately in the minister's press releases. So what about that? Well, you say showing up, but it's really more of a very slight feeling that something's strange. He just happened to mention it during his speech at the prefectural forum, so it just might have been something that he was mentioning because it was relevant at the time. If I remember correctly, a local organization there was protesting quite violently, no? The Onagafuchi Defense Alliance? I think Akasaka-kun was investigating that. I think those guys could possibly be behind what's happening now. Even if we can't say there's anything overtly suspicious about them, it might not be prudent to remove them from the picture. Akasaka-kun reported in passing that he couldn't deny that possibility. Then isn't there merit in investigating them? We're going through everything with a fine-tooth comb, so if they're one of the suspicious groups that are left, we'll eventually have to. Well, they're not the only group we should investigate, right? Hahaha. If we're just talking about groups that are as suspicious as Onagafuchi, there's quite a few of them. We don't have the men, the time, or the money for it all. I'll try asking for more details from Akasaka-kun. I feel like we should pay some extra attention to this defense alliance. He's reported that he's established a rapport with the villagers. It also seems that he's collaborating with the local police. Keep in contact with Akasaka-kun on the down low. Also, if there's anything in his info that merits investigation, it's possible we can send reinforcements. Got it. Sorry. Chief Katoka? There's a phone call from the director. Should I transfer it over here? No, it's okay. I'll head over there. Yes, hello? Moshi mosh. What's in the box? What's in the box? Still haven't seen that movie. Where is it available? Hold on. I wanna watch it now, actually. Just watch. What is it? 7? Like spelled like that? Oh, it's on Showtime. Okay, cool. So I can watch it. Nice. Pretty sure I can watch it. I'll have to ask my sibling if they have the code for that. I just rewatched the clip. How was it? Do you believe that there are choices in life? There are many people who limit the following. If there only existed points in life where there are clear choices to make, we would be able to scrutinize those carefully and make decisions that would lead us to a better future. Yeah, we have free will, right? Every time I hear people lament as such, I cast it off as a rather trivial worry. Even if you were given a clear choice, it wouldn't be meaningful at all, and there wouldn't be any such path to a better future. This is hard to understand. That's the definition of I'm going crazy. Is it? Oh man. This is hard to understand. Well, let's pretend that in front of you, there are two strange boxes. In other words, you have two clear choices. Schrödinger? Do you open the red box or the blue box? A lot of things would be uncertain even with that choice, wouldn't they? If you don't have the option of opening neither, then your choice boils down to the natural impulse of opening the box that holds the better result for you. Then, after examining the shape and features of each and pondering a great many things, you have to pick either the red or the blue. If this was you, which box would you open? The red box. Red or blue? If you were to go by their traditional meanings, then red would be a dangerous, threatening color. But red's my favorite color. However, that doesn't automatically mean that it would be calm and relaxing inside the blue box either. In fact, it might even be that the colors are a trap, make you wary of the red box and have you open the blue. A trap? No, just open the box. Could it be the contents of the box aren't a reward, but rather a penalty? Don't overthink it, just open the box. See, now you're at a loss. You're so conflicted over the choice between red and blue that you started wishing there was an option to open neither, and just leave. Or you could just leave. But there isn't. You have to open either the red box or the blue box, then red box. Well, I forgot to say this, but if you choose one box, the other will disappear. So you'll never know the contents of the box you don't open. That's fine, I can live with that. I'll just put the rule at the end there for you. I'll just put that rule at the end there for you. Now, why don't you choose the red box or the blue box? Red box. It's alright, you won't lose anything by picking either one. Come on now. Wait, I have a choice? No way. Hey, alright. Have you thought about it? Yeah, I did. In the end, you chose this color, didn't you? As soon as you chose, the other box disappeared. So you can give up on the contents of that one, okay? That's the rule. Now open up the box you chose. Inside the box there was a piece of caramel. Yeah, alright. I know you're a little disappointed. That's only natural. No matter how you look at it, it looks like you drew a dud. The cracked box might have had a bar of chocolate in it for all you know. Toblerone? No, in fact, something incredible like a pair of tickets to Hawaii might have been in there. Yeah, but it's expensive. But even if you wanted to verify that, the other box has already disappeared. There's no way you could check now. But if you think about it... Oh, I could have quick-saved. Whoops. But if you think about it from an optimistic point of view, just maybe the other box was empty and this box was the winner. Being satisfied, or perhaps not, with such a cheap prize, you pop it into your mouth and start chewing it happily. So what do you think in the end? If you were given a second chance, would you try to open the other box? Yes. But unfortunately, the chance to choose between the red box and the blue box has come and gone, never to be seen again. The chance to change your selection will never come. Don't your parents often say, every choice you make in life only happens once, so choose carefully? Hee. See? Choices aren't that great after all. Aren't you a little disillusioned now? What happens if I replay that? Is it gone? I'm gonna flip if it's gone. Oh my god, please. Quick save. Trap. Blue box. The time has come, JP. What's up? Have you thought about it? In the end, you chose this color, didn't you? As soon as you chose, the box disappeared. So you can give up on the contents of that one, okay? That's the rule. Now open up the box you chose. Inside the box there was a stick of chewing gum. Gonna make a few waffles? Oh man. Enjoy. Save me some. Right now you're thinking, that's it? That's right. The contents of the red box and the blue box were a piece of caramel and a stick of chewing gum. She knows. You might have thought you made the wrong choice before, but now seeing them together like this, you can't really say that your choice was the wrong one. Well, I guess everybody has their personal preferences. If you prefer caramel to gum, for example, you're definitely thinking of choosing to open the box again based on that preference. The clear choices you wanted were basically this. The selfish desire to open up both boxes and compare the contents, then pick the one most suited to you. But you see, reality is the same as this game. If you pick one, the one you didn't choose disappears. So there's no way you could check the result. If at that time you had done this, or perhaps if you had done that, then it wouldn't be hard to imagine that you could be happier, or perhaps less happy, than you are right now. In the end, you only have the pleasure of approving of or being disappointed by the choice that you did make. That's fine. After all, didn't you enjoy the thrill of making the choice? If, like now, you knew the contents of both boxes, then the choice between the red box and the blue box would just be a waste of time. Because instead of this boring game about boxes, you could be looking at the quickly changing evening summer sky, listening for the distant sound of thunder, and pondering if it's going to rain or not. That'd be much more fun. Don't judge me, whoever you are. What happens if we do it again? Do you believe that they're choices? If you were given a clear choice, is this hard to understand? Let's pretend I'm in front of you. 2 boxes. Red box. Wooden day. Threatening color. Chewing gum or red caramel? I'm gonna go with chewing gum. Actually, let's go with red again. Red box. Have you thought about it? At the end you chose this color. Piece of caramel. Wait, so why is that still the same dialogue? What happens if I quick load? Oh, I can't quick load. Alright. Well then. That's pretty cool. Is it just gone? There is no quick save. I see. It deletes it. So what happens if I choose it again? Because maybe it's reset now? Do it again. Very stubborn. Can't believe the quick load's gone. Listen, I'm choosing to open these boxes. I'm choosing this game over sunny sky, or starry sky. Piece of caramel. I think it's the same. Yeah, okay. I think we're done with that. Well, now I'm curious what would have happened if I chose blue first. Would it be the stick of gum and then it wouldn't reveal what was in the other box, like it did with us? The glint in the demon's eye. Uh-huh, yes. So the wake will be from 6 p.m. tomorrow and the service will be the day after from noon until 1. The venue will be Okonomiya Ceremony Hall. I see. It's Deputy Mayor Ikezawa's grandson's funeral we're talking about. You have to pay our respects. Mion, I'll have you go in my stead. Okay, got it. Should I wear mourning clothes? How much should I bring for the funeral offering? You can go in your school uniform. Make sure you button it up properly. For the money, 100,000 yen. They've done a lot for us. Mion quietly whistled in awe at the exorbitant amount of money her grandmother was offering. Ikezawa-san's been a prudent person ever since his days as the head of the Okonomiya municipal office. Even if those government types paid me a visit, they'd always stay outside. But whenever I offered Ikezawa-san a cup of tea, he'd come inside and carefully listen to what I had to say. He always lent a proper ear to what people had to say. Others should learn from a person like him. The two guests made a show of nodding, making it clear they were paying attention as Odio reminisced. The sight of them trying not to get on Odio's bad side was humorous enough to elicit laughter from Mion occasionally. How young was Deputy Mayor Ikezawa's grandson when he died? 11 years old, apparently. Odio closed her eyes and shook her head lightly, lamenting the loss of such a young life. If I recall correctly, he said he only had one grandchild. How sad. There's nothing worse for a parent than outliving their offspring. Haha, you're really nice to other people, Granny. If Shion or I died, would you be this sad? Don't be stupid. Saying something like that is bad luck. Having got the reaction that she expected, Mion cackled. The two guests, unsure if they were supposed to laugh along, instead forced awkward smiles. We'll take our leave for today, then. We'll be by tomorrow evening at 5 to pick you up. Until then, please excuse us. After bowing their heads repeatedly, the guests left by the front door. Mion saw them off, waving her little hand goodbye. They're gone. Must be rough for them to pay you a courtesy visit, Granny. It would have been fine if they just broke the news over the phone. Well, it's true that Oryo Sonozaki was a central person for both her relatives and the residents of Hinamizawa village as a whole. As a voting bloc, they numbered in the several thousands. It wasn't hard to imagine the mayor would try to pander to her. Unlike Mion, however, Oryo was looking up longingly at the sky from the veranda. What's the matter? Are you going senile? Hahaha. I just thought that no matter whose grandchild it was, I'd feel sorry for them. Saying that, she let out a deep sigh. Mion was let down, as normally her grandmother would have scolded her for her attitude. Mion, you know, that minister's grandson. How long has it been since he was abducted? 4 days, maybe? Oryo let out another deep sigh. Maybe the grandchild of our bitter enemy, but I still feel sorry for him. Really? That's enough of a warning. You should bring this to an end soon. A playful expression drained from Mion's face, leaving behind a stern one. Then, as if to ascertain Oryo's will, looked into her eyes. Oryo, expressing her intention with only those eyes, looked back into Mion's. I want some tea. Could you call for some? Some of that chocolate, too. Mion gave a small nod, then turned around. Shimiko-san, are you there? Grandma wants some tea. Could you prepare some? From far away, a voice responded in the affirmative. Mion, after confirming she'd been heard, picked up the phone and began dialing. Ah, hello? This is Mion. Yeah. Is my father there? So it was the Sonozakis. It was dear old dad. Or at least he knows who it is, I guess. Who's got the kid? Go and save. Time's up. 1:43. Yeah, let's continue. After this next chapter, we'll do the 5-minute BRB. I had a restless night's sleep. I did nothing but turn over repeatedly during a night that seemed like it lasted for eternity. Even then, I eventually fell asleep at some point, not realizing how high in the sky the sun had risen. I shook off the urge to go back to sleep. It was then I noticed that the phone was ringing. The time was almost 10:30 in the morning, but it's clearly too late for a wake-up call. Akasaka-san. Good morning, it's Oishi. Nufufu. Waking up to the sound of Oishi's voice was a little too much of a shock. My delicate ears were ringing, but thanks to that shock, I was suddenly wide awake. Hello? Good morning. Could it be you just woke up? Even though you're on assignment, it's still not good. It's still not good to be asleep during regular business hours. You're absolutely right. I'll be more careful in the future. I have another tidbit that might wake you up even more. There is something interesting mixed in with the lost and found at the Hinamizawa police box. Lost and found? Let's see the details from when you get here. You think you'll be able to make it before noon? No, I'll be there right away. Oishi already knew what my mission was. Since Oishi said it was something that would wake me up, it was hard to believe that it would be irrelevant to me. Honestly speaking, judging by the information from Sato-san yesterday, knowing that my cover was already blown, I couldn't wander to and from Hinamizawa carelessly. In other words, my investigation was an impasse. There was some information there that could put me back on the trail. That would be nothing less than a stroke of good fortune. After vigorously washing my face, I pulled on my jacket and hailed a taxi, heading towards the Okonomiya police station. Oh, you're here. The genius mahjong player has arrived. My apologies for being late. So exactly what popped up? With absolutely no intention of reminiscing about last night's mahjong game, I pressed him to get to the point. Oishi, anticipating that I would act that way, cut to the chase without any resistance. Like I said earlier, something arrived from the Hinamizawa police boxes lost and found this morning. Lost items that were turned over to the police box were sent to Okonomiya Station after the paperwork was filled out. Oishi pulled out a plastic bag from a drawer and laid its labeled contents on the desk. Is that a wallet? Indeed. There was small change inside, but no bills. Thought that a pickpocket threw it away after pulling out the content. At first. I didn't understand how this wallet, so far removed from Tokyo, could possibly be related to the kidnapping. If it had drawn Oishi's attention. It would have to be something dramatic, like if the wallet belonged to the missing grandchild. That would be absurd, like something that convenient would happen. If that was it, then there were probably initials written on the wallet, like the initials of Toshiki Unagai, the minister's grandson, T.I. T.I.'s in the game? Thinking like that, at this point, I didn't suppose that this wallet was something that could get Uishi so excited. Uishi, after putting on a pair of disposable plastic gloves, handed me a pair of the same. Didn't feel that this wallet was such an important thing, so I had my doubts about whether there was any point in putting on gloves. However, I didn't want Uishi's intentions to go to waste, so I put them on. Uishi opened up the plastic bag and pulled it out, showing me the back. As I'd imagined, there were initials engraved there. It was slightly more detailed than what I had thought, with Toshiki I marked on it. Uishi grinned at me with a look on his face that said, "See? We can't confirm from that this belongs to the minister's grandson," I informed him calmly. This wallet was irrelevant. It was nothing more than Uishi's overeagerness. First of all, there was absolutely no way in this distant locale that the missing grandson's wallet would be found with such convenient timing. After all, the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance wasn't related to the case in the first place. So there's no way this wallet belonged to the grandson. Why I wanted to decide that was the case, even I didn't really know. Even though what should have been a top-secret case was leaked before I'd even been dispatched. In this situation, how could I say that this is definitely unrelated? Would it be more prudent to pay more attention to this wallet? It had only been a couple of days since I arrived in Hinamizawa, but in those couple of days, due to the number of remarkable events, my nerves might have become just a little frayed. Shaking my head slightly, I cleared it of unnecessary thoughts. Uishi opened the wallet's zipper, revealing the contents. Inside was small change and a number of crumpled receipts. Uishi, from that jumble, pulled out a folded card. Seeing that, my heart stopped for a moment. It was a card from a dental examination. The name Toshiki Unagai and the age. Perfect match. The dentist's location was in Tokyo. There is no need to explain any further. How far was it from Tokyo to Hinamizawa? It was far enough that taking the bullet trains and cars would still take several hours. Why would a wallet with a dental examination and cart from Tokyo inside show up in Hinamizawa? Could it belong to a tourist who came from Tokyo? Maybe a villager on vacation to Tokyo just happened to pay a visit to the dentist. No, I had to have fallen into somebody's bag by accident. In my mind, I just struggled to find a possible excuse as to why this wallet didn't belong to Toshiki Unagai. It was as if it just wouldn't do for this wallet to belong to him. However, weeding out any possibility for error one by one, the haze surrounding the wallet in front of me faded, gradually letting it come to clear focus. See? I felt a shiver of electricity run up my spine. My pulse quickened, and a thin film of sweat began to coat my entire body. From Uishi's point of view, I was probably slack-jawed and spaced out with a slovenly look on my face. Slovenly? Did you get information from the dental office? That's your job, Akasaka-san. I didn't go that far. When did this wallet show up? The person that picked it up was a villager. They did so yesterday, it seems. When was this wallet dropped? It rained here last week, exactly 7 days ago. It doesn't look like the contents are water damage, so long as it could be would probably be 6 days. Does anybody else at the station have knowledge of the existence of this wallet? The officer who first encountered it at the Hinamizawa police box, and also the 2 or 3 people in charge of the lost and found. Other than that, it's just me and you. If it's involved in a classified case, it'd be bad to talk about it, wouldn't it? I don't intend to wag my tongue. May I borrow a phone? Go ahead. Dial 0 to get an outside line. Okay, I'm fine. It's clearing out my nose. I dialed the phone number inscribed on the examination card. I could hear my pulse pounding inside my head. Could there possibly be something so absurd? The addresses on the receipts and cards inside the wallet were all from around the area where the grandson lived. The name on the examination card was also a match. The time would deduce that the wallet had been left behind was also matched up with the timeline of the kidnapping. Of course, it was possible I could just laugh it off as all a big pile of coincidences. There wasn't any strong evidence. Rather than all this circumstantial proof, the contents of the phone call I was about to make would have a much greater meaning. This contact phone again, right? Hello. Sorry to keep you waiting. This is dental office. Hello, this is the police. I have a misplaced wallet here and I'm trying to get in contact with the owner. Would you be able to help me? Inside the wallet there is an examination card from your office. Yes. The name is Toshiki Unugai. If I give you the number of the card, would you be able to look up the phone number? Yes, thank you. If you could. Still holding the receiver, I pulled out a notebook from my breast pocket with my free hand. I opened it up to the page with the grandson's address and phone number recorded on it. Yes, hello. Yes, go ahead. I compared the phone number written in my notebook to the one that was being read out on the other end of the line. During that process, I spun around to look behind me uneasily. I locked eyes with Oishi. There she is. Oishi looked puzzled, wondering what the matter was. Why would I feel uneasy and look behind me? That was because the person on the end of the line was reading out the numbers as though doing so straight from my notebook. It seemed that HQ wasn't quite an uproar thanks to my report. No matter how many times the authenticity of the evidence I linked to the grandson was called into question, I could only respond that it was the truth. When the lead investigator first picked up the phone, I was grilled about the evidence I'd found that was almost too good to be true, if I do say so myself. But after having doubt after doubt dispelled, he fell into silence. The receiver was finally handed over to the section chief. When he picked it up, the background drum on the other end of the line disappeared, and I knew that it had gone completely silent. After asking the same questions about the wallet that the lead investigator did, the chief quietly spoke his next words. Got it. We'll dispatch several people as reinforcements. What is this theme? We should be able to make it there by evening. Akasaka-kun, please continue with the investigation of the area. Get some information on the spot where the wallet was found. Kano-san will select some people and head directly there. The fact that he is sending Kano, the lead investigator, here meant that the chief had decided there is a possibility that the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance was somehow implicit in the kidnapping. However, it felt as though until the lead investigator, whom he trusted, and verified the evidence with his own eyes, he was still going to be skeptical about it. This is a bop. Not a bad track. How'd it go? It seems that HQ is sending reinforcements. I was ordered to investigate the area. Where was the wallet dropped? From Takatsudo, apparently. This is Okonomiya. Really though, yeah. This is Okonomiya. All the way over here, this is Hinamizawa. Then, even further upstream, way up around here is Takatsudo? Oishi explained where the wallet was found by pointing to locations on the map on the wall. This place, called Takatsudo, was even more remote than Hinamizawa's. There's hardly anybody living in the area around Takatsudo. It was deserted a long time ago. It's littered with abandoned houses, so it's really quite desolate around there. Oishi-san, could I ask you to guide me to Takatsudo? Yeah, I don't mind. Damn, that part. You can't really get in and out of Hinamizawa as you please by yourself, after all. Going to look up this OST now? I think it's exclusive to this chapter. Oh, I mean, it could be in other chapters too, but this is the first time I've heard it. So I'd probably look up Chapter 4 OST. Of course, I'll have to make you swear the Captain Mask again. Wait, did I misread that? Yeah, don't mind. You can't really get in and out of Hinamizawa as you please by yourself after all. Of course, I'll have to make you wear the Captain Mask again. That Oishi had agreed to accompany me was very reassuring. Sato-san's info was to believe my cover had been blown. I wasn't sure if the villagers had realized that the fresh meat dispatched from public safety was the tourist that had visited the village yesterday. In other words, me. But deciding that they hadn't noticed would have been overly optimistic. Given a cursory thought, Takatsudo, where the vault was found, couldn't be ruled out as a hiding spot for the kidnappers. Takatsudo area didn't have any residential buildings, nor was it alongside a highway. There wasn't a reason for even locals to go out of their way to visit it. It was exactly what you would call a long-forgotten ghost town at the end of the road. Couldn't ask for a better place to hold a kidnapped grandson. Also, you couldn't get to Takatsudo without passing through Hinamizawa first. Those several conditions made the area all the more important. You couldn't brush it off any longer. There was no longer any doubt that Onigafuchi Defense Alliance, or somebody hired by them, were involved in the kidnapping. If that was the case, then the fact that this wallet was found might have already been leaked to them. They even knew so much as how the public safety division was operating. The case of the wallet couldn't be something they didn't know. In that case, there was a possibility that the enemy was lying in wait. To dive alone into enemy territory, surrounded by enemy territory, to say the least, required an amount of courage, nay, recklessness, that I just did not have. Without your company, Oishi-san, I wouldn't be able to step into the village so easily. Hold on. I'm back. Okay. Without your company, Oishi-san, I wouldn't be able to step into the village so easily. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Honestly, I thought you would ask for more money. Well, for being honest, Hinamizawa isn't exactly a place I like to go to. I'd at least appreciate it if you paid for a cab fare. Still, it's not a request I can refuse from a friend that's played at the same table as me. Now as still, it's not a request I can refuse my friend that's played at the same table as me. Oishi grinned as he pounded me on the back. It struck me that he just didn't want to jump ship rather than having any sort of sense of duty towards his job. Even so, that didn't really matter. Right now, I really appreciate the gesture. Well then, shall we hurry up and get it going? If the enemy that the police had obtained the wallet, then they would probably have moved the hostage to a different place. There wasn't a moment to lose. But Oishi, without regard to the fact that we were about to head out, began to remove his jacket. What are you doing? Well, just a precaution. If you want me to poke the beehive to get your honey, I'll have to be rather well prepared, you see. You want to put one on too? Okay. What Oishi pulled from the drawer below the desk was a stab-proof vest. There goes that track. His name was Toshiki Unugai, grandson of the Minister of Construction, Unugai. There was only one reason for him being here. If he didn't include gym or art class, his grades were above the average. That was a result of having private tutoring sessions twice a week. If he omitted the fact that he still couldn't do pull-ups, there wasn't much else that would make him hate school. Of course, he understood full well that his grandfather was a cabinet minister. But he also knew that not too many people were that interested in their relationship. He didn't like to go out of his way to bring up his grandpa. I'm pausing because I'm thinking I'm seeing things on the right side of the screen, but that's not what's happening. Anyways, we're fine. He didn't like to go out of his way to bring up his grandfather, or to call him the Minister of Construction. And finally, he at least tried to know a little more about what kind of work the Minister of Construction did than your average Joe. What that entailed was that when you tried your best to make life better for the masses, sometimes you made a few enemies. He knew that all too well from the time he spent as class representative. His grandfather had many enemies. He knew that he might personally catch some of that fallout, so he had to be twice as cautious. He was taught that by his parents. That's why, the moment he was kidnapped, he instantly knew that this was one of those occasions. He understood that he wasn't being treated as Toshiki Unugai, the person, but rather as Toshiki Unugai, the grandson of the Minister of Construction. That he wasn't personally at fault, but that this was the result of some unavoidable trouble with his grandfather's work. It made little difference, but when he realized it wasn't because of anything he did, he was able to relax, if only a little. Of course, at first he was struck with a terror befitting his age, wondering what was going to happen to him. But after a while being tied up and only able to stay lying down, he began to ponder a great many things. First, he thought about the reason he was being abducted like this. He understood the answer to that easily. He was taken hostage to course his grandfather, Minister. There was no doubt about that. He didn't know exactly what the Minister of Construction did, but it was easy to imagine that there is much to be gained from threatening him. He respected his grandfather more than most. He earnestly believed that his own grandfather was within the top 20 of the most important people in Japan. That was exactly why he wouldn't forgive anybody who tried to threaten his beloved grandfather. More importantly, he wouldn't forgive anybody who would use him as a tool to threaten his grandfather. His grandfather was really busy and rarely had time to meet with relatives. That's why, with what little time he did manage to scrape together, he just dropped by unannounced. And as an apology for not being able to meet during New Year's or summer vacation, he doted on his grandson very, very much. The number of times that Toshiki was looked upon with disregard just because his grandfather was a politician and minister certainly weren't few. But he never thought even once that he wanted his grandfather to quit being a politician. Because it was his beloved grandfather, he wanted him to continue his career as long as possible from the bottom of his heart. However, Toshiki was now being held hostage and his grandfather was being threatened. His grandfather, caught him the apple of his eye, was surely suffering. He might do anything to save his grandson. Maybe even putting aside his ideology if it was required to save his grandson. He might cave into the culprit's demands if it meant saving his grandson. And Toshiki thought about that, and inexplicable anger welled up within him. In his current situation, he was unable to forgive the cowards who would make his beloved grandfather suffer by using such dastardly means. That feeling swelled up inside of him, displacing the fear. What he thought of first was something any boy would imagine. Get out of these bonds, beat up the bad guys, then hand them over to the police. Images of all the brave heroes from all the manga he had read passed through the back of his mind. In his imaginary scenario, he slipped his bonds easily, floating like a butterfly to evade his captors, then stinging like a bee to bring them all down. In the end, it was nothing more than his silly little fantasy, but with his vision obstructed and unable to see anything, it was something that he could get into more than any anime at the moment. In actuality, he was enjoying these little scenarios in his head for the long period of time he was tied up. His captors hadn't really done anything to him that they would feel sorry for. However, eventually he began to grow tired of his fantasies, and more realistic scenarios began to run through his head. It was then he realized that none of them were a solution. Yes, he wanted to do something for his grandfather, who was being threatened. That he was being held here to inflict pain on his grandfather was the thing that he could least forgive, and also the most vexing. And then he noticed. There was a much simpler way he could save his grandfather without having to beat up his despicable captors. That was to remove himself as a hostage from the hands of these villains. If he was to disappear from here, his captors would have nothing to threaten his grandfather with. The captors had restrained him, but they didn't treat him roughly. By nature, he was fed well enough. Meaning at most, he was nothing more than the means for their threat. They weren't looking to bully or kill him out of spite. If he behaved, no ill will would befall him. Realizing that gave him a strong sense of courage. And carrying his train of thought this far, he let it run its course to its natural conclusion. Right now, at this moment, Toshiki Unagai had decided to escape. His ears had been stuffed with a sponge-like material, acting as makeshift earplugs. However, they didn't actually do much to block out any sound, and he could overhear everything his captors were saying. Realizing that this was to his advantage, even when his captors spoke to him, he acted like he couldn't hear them due to the earplugs. His captors, thinking that he couldn't hear their conversation, talked about all sorts of things without any reservations. Thanks to that, he was able to obtain various pieces of information. First off, this wasn't Tokyo. It seemed that this was quite a distance away, and on top of that in the countryside, nestled deep in the mountains. It also seemed that his captors were inconvenienced living out here, so he could deduce that this place was far removed from any sort of town. Finally, whenever they went out to buy food or other supplies, they would always take a car. That fact caused him some dismay, because he knew that the method he learned at school of running around blindly while shouting for help wouldn't work here. He paused his little mental escape scenario there. His ultimate goal was to find somebody who would help him. If somebody who fit that description wasn't close by, his chances of escaping successfully grew slim. Desolate, far-off land, deep in the mountains. A place where he couldn't even go shopping without using a car. In this situation, escaping would be very difficult. He grew depressed, and after a little while, he returned to his original scenario. Imagining becoming a hero, like in the manga he read, and beating down his captors became his respite. However, as he played those delusions out in his head, his heart, hating to surrender, continued to search for a way to escape. And then he thought of a way. If the goal was very far away, then all he had to do was get closer. His goal, in a nutshell, was to find somebody who would help him. In other words, somebody other than his captors. If he faked being sick, then his captors would have to take him to the hospital or bring a doctor to him. He'll probably be reluctant to do that. But he already knew that the hostage was more important than anything. In the off chance that something happened, like him dying, occurred, they wouldn't be able to threaten anybody anymore. Luckily, he had an experience that would help him fake a serious illness. At the end of last year, he was inadvertently involved in a car accident and had to undergo surgery. The scar from that surgery was still clearly visible on his lower torso. He recalled the pain and suffering from that time. The existence of that experience would make a huge impact on the realism of his performance. He was quite confident in his ability to fake an illness. His captors at first took that as a sign he needed to use the washroom. Untying only his arms, they tried to bring him there while he was still blindfolded. But he didn't try to get up. His hands, now free, only clutched at his abdomen as he writhed in agony. "Hey, what's wrong? Does your stomach hurt?" He still had his earplugs on, so he had to pretend he didn't hear his captors asking the question. He was about to nod, so he hurriedly had to stop himself. "What's the matter?" "Yeah, the kid's clutching at his stomach. Must be a stomachache or something." His captors looked down and his suffering formed for a bit. One of them proposed a course of action, while another laid his doubts that Toshiki might be faking it. "What's wrong, boy? Your tummy hurt?" "His ears are plugged, so he can't hear you." "Well, that's a problem. Do we got any medicine that works on a stomach pain? Might want to go to the pharmacy and buy some." "When it comes to stomach pain, there's a bunch of different meds, isn't there? As long as we don't know the cause, we shouldn't just buy him any old medicine." "He's old in his stomach. Maybe he's just constipated. If you buy him some medicine for that, maybe that'll calm him down. It won't kill him if we're wrong, neither. Don't decide something like that on your own. Might be appendicitis or something. My uncle suddenly got it a while ago. That was pretty scary." One of the captors leaned over beside the boy, who bent over in agony. I feel sorry for the kid. Whoa, his whole body's covered in sweat. Is it your stomach? Does it hurt? Hey, if it hurts, you shouldn't clutch at so tightly. It'll only make it worse. Oh, that's right, it's gonna rain tonight. Forgot about that. The storm is coming, yeah. Forgot about that. Okay, so this has to be the last chapter. Whoops. Forgot about that. Yeah, we don't want to risk it. Is it your stomach? Does it hurt? It'll only make it worse. Realizing that his captors were concerned about his stomach, he inadvertently let his shirt right up, letting the scar from the surgery come into plain view. His vision was still... We should probably click save, just in case. Just in case. Okay. His vision was still obscured with packing tape, so he couldn't see the reaction to his scar. But his captors were taken aback, and judging from their momentary silence, he'd obtained the reaction he was looking for. Hey, this is bad. This scar, it's not that old. Does that boy have a fever? Is the thermometer around? No way we have one. But that's a lot of sweat. Yeah, his forehead feels pretty hot, I think. I've heard that under prolonged stress, old wounds can be aggravated. Then what do? Are you saying the medicine won't work? We don't know what surgery this scar is from. But in any case, this is bad. In the worst case, it could be fatal. This is bad. This is really, really bad. Maybe we should have a doctor take a look at it. At this rate, there's a chance that he might suddenly die on us. Toshiki Unigai, with those few words, knew that the situation was progressing exactly as he had envisioned it, and snickering to himself on the inside, pressed his act even further. He didn't even need to see to know that his captors were panicked and were running around like chickens, with their heads cut off at this troublesome turn of events. Should we take him to the clinic? Oh, that's no good. Probably better if the doctor came here. Dr. Iria, you mean? Is that okay? That'd be alright. It'd be worse if anything happened to that hostage. Nothing we could do. It's an emergency. One of the captors hurriedly left in the car. Well, so Dr. Iria is up to no good. Another of the men, completely shaken up at this point, wiped the sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief. Looked like they were bringing a doctor. Yeah, it's raining. As long as the doctor wasn't an accomplice, that doctor was his goal. He was someone he should seek help from. The captors are probably wary of that happening. They'll be prepared for it. This would all come down to luck. Some of the sweat emerging from his brow was from that nervousness. At that moment, the packing tape that was covering his eyes and ears was torn off. The burning light that he was seeing for the first time in several days hurt his eyes. After that, the gag that made it hard for him to breathe was also removed. Are you alright, kid? We're bringing a doctor to you right now. Just hold on for a bit. Doctor was coming. The doctor was coming. Now, how was he going to ask for help, and how was he going to get away from his captors? A plethora of thoughts began swirling through his mind. I think you know this already, but don't say anything unnecessary to the doctor. We don't want to hurt you or anything. You understand that, right? Toshiki Unigai nodded while feigning pain and obedience. His expectations and the enemy's expectations. Whether they doubted he was faking his illness or not, they knew what his goal was and would try to stop it. His stomach contracted from the stress of this gambit, making it seem like his stomach really was starting to hurt. No, it really was. But there was no reason to panic. If he failed with his approach to the doctor, there was nothing to lose. If there was something to lose, it was his method of faking illness to get in touch with the doctor. He could think of other methods from here on out. It wasn't much. But at the present, this was the easiest and most dramatic way he could think of. The more he thought about it, the more it looked like this was his first and last gambit. Eventually, he heard the sound of a car approaching once again. The sound of the car doors being hurriedly opened and shut. The sounds of several footsteps approaching. A young man in a white medical coat. As he acknowledged the boy, a suspicious look showed itself on his face. Who is he? He's not one of the kids from the village, is he? Captor didn't respond. From the looks of it, the young doctor had realized that this was an abnormal situation. One of the captors talked threateningly. That's got nothing to do with you, Doc. For a while, the doctor and the captors silently glared at one another. However, unable to stand at the side of the boy continuing to suffer, the doctor, as the captors had hoped, didn't press any further. I'm concerned about this old surgical scar. What kind of operation was it? We don't know. Should really bring him back to the clinic. Doc, we really can do that. The doctor said he wanted to bring the boy back to the clinic, but the captors simply silently shook their heads at the notion. There was a fleeting hope, but it was only natural that the captors would refuse. At that moment, his eyes met with the doctor's. Seeing that the boy's painful state was abnormal, the doctor suspected it was a serious illness. Are you alright? I'm a doctor. When was this surgical scar from? Last year. During the winter. From an accident. An accident? I see. This is a problem. Couldn't let the doctor figure out that he was faking it here. He had to somehow figure out some way to keep this going and tell the doctor that he was being confined and needed help. I'm gonna touch the affected area, okay? If it hurts, tell me where. Seeing that it was extremely painful, the doctor crossed his arms and began to ponder. He had to somehow get himself to a hospital. The Toshiki Unagai, faking this illness, was a performance of a lifetime. Oh man. Well, yeah, that has to be a good stopping point. I don't think it's in the chapter, but... Oh man. Maybe it is? No, I don't think it is. It's probably the halfway point. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get it. I hear the rain, so... Oh, that's unfortunate. I forgot about the rain that was coming. But yeah. That'll have to do it. So, thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Gus, for hanging out. 10:31? 10:37. 10:37. Okay, so that one, the top one. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. Catch you guys later. Have a good one. And bye.